Hey, welcome back. If this is your first time joining, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here and that you're listening to our show. So today, as promised, I'm going to recap the affirmations I had mentioned in the last episode and talk about why I chose them and how it relates to adults with immigrant parents and why this is beneficial to remember, to remind yourself of, to tell another friend, and really practice these positive affirmations. And while you're here, click subscribe so that you could follow along with all the new episodes and not miss any as they come out, because there's plenty about adults with immigrant parents that I could talk about all day long. All right. So I will go through the affirmations one by one and kind of give you a little rundown of why I chose them and why I think it's important to repeat them or remind yourself of these things, especially when things are rough, when times are tough for you. So the first one, I am doing the best that I can. You are doing the best that you can. We really are just doing the best that we can, right? I think a lot of times there's a lot of pressure to have a perfect response, to know the answer, to have things all figured out, especially having immigrant parents if they depend on you for different things, right? Translations, research, driving, even just like support, emotional support, or, how to call this healthcare thing and how to figure out what we do next, right? There's a lot that could be asked of you having immigrant parents. Not that they're not able to do it, your parents, but for example, for me, naturally being born in the US, having an education in the US, learning English, I am going to know more English than my mom, right? So if I saw her needing help, or if I'm at school and they're talking about something, I'm going to want to help her better understand what it is they're talking about, or just kind of translate for her to keep her in the loop or make sure that she understands. Or if things are happening for her, I would want to make sure that she understands what other people are saying, right? So I have the gift of being able to speak two languages, although I'm not super fluent in Vietnamese, but I'm able to support her in that way. So naturally, I would want to help her when I can, right? And oftentimes I'm not going to do a good job because I don't know what, tax words are in Vietnamese, or history, or, different types of words for technical things in healthcare that I would not know how to translate, that I barely probably understand in English. So I'm not going to do an excellent job at everything, but I am doing the best that I can, right? And we have to really think about what is the purpose of what we're doing. If we are helping someone and we're really putting effort into supporting them, are we doing the best that we can with what we have? And what we have also means what we have for that day, for that moment, right? It varies case by case. So if I didn't sleep well because I couldn't sleep last night, or I had a work project I had to finish up and stayed up till 4, then I had to go help my parents with translating something, or support them with some technological things. I may not be as happy, as efficient, as energized as I would be normally, and that's okay. I'm doing the best that I can. The fact that I even showed up and want to help them with something is still really, really great, and I'm sure I'm going to do the best that I can. Right? Even if it doesn't feel like it in comparison to another time, if I'm all rested, or if I didn't have anything else that I was doing earlier that day, I wasn't stressed, I wasn't so exhausted, I would show up better. But this version of myself, given the circumstances, is also okay. This is important to think about for you because, like I said, there's a lot of different expectations and pressures and things that you as an adult with immigrant parent might have to deal with and help with, and some of it you may not even know. So the stress of being like, oh my gosh, I gotta figure this out, is also going to take a toll on us. It's going to take a toll on you. So I really hope that when stressful things come up and you're noticing, hey, I'm not really showing up in the best way, like I wouldn't want to show up like this typically, that you actually just tell yourself, you're doing the best you can, right? I am doing the best I can in this moment, given the circumstances, and that is okay. I'm still here, I'm showing up, I'm still going to help them tomorrow, if not today or next week or whenever it is, or I've helped them with many other things, or I've supported them in this way, and I'm really just doing the best I can. So that's number one. Number two, similarly, since we know we're doing the best that we can, our parents, other people are also doing the best that they can. That was the second affirmation I left you in the last episode. And it's my parents, my families, and others are doing the best that they can. So just like the same grace that we want to give you, hopefully we could give that same grace to other people too, where, they simply are trying to do the best that they can as well. And that we may not know as clearly as for us, what circumstances have been happening or what's impacting their mood or how hard are they trying. But generally speaking, I think most people are just doing the best that they can. And again, there's different variations of that throughout the days, throughout the weeks, based on what's happening, throughout the minutes of the day also, right? It's like if I was just stuck in traffic for an hour and a half, like right after, I'm probably not going to be in the best mood compared to if I had just gone to the gym. So comparatively, there's different versions, but people are doing the best that they can as well. So that's number two. Let's move on to number three. Just because someone doesn't agree with me doesn't mean that I am wrong. That is so true, because everyone has different perspectives, everyone has different opinions, and people don't always have to agree with us, right? We don't always have to agree with other people, but there's a way to do it respectfully, kindly, and oftentimes if it's not actually done kind of nicely, it's not going to sit well with us, because if someone's not being particularly nice or like, hey, I get your perspective, but this is my perspective, if they're not talking to us like that, that's going to be really hard to, sit with someone saying like, you're wrong and I'm right. But no matter what, because we can't control what other people do or say, we have to know that we came to our own conclusion for this very reason, whatever it is. And that's my perspective, right? Imagine if I had lost my phone and my response to it is, oh my gosh, like everything is on there. It's so inconvenient to get a new phone. I don't want to waste money and to get another one. Like, why did I lose it? And I'm starting to be sad about it. And my friend is like, well, you lost your phone. That's perfect. That's another excuse for you to get a new phone, and I get the newest one. And, it's fun to do all these updates and adjust to a new phone. Everyone has a different opinion. That's the same situation of a phone being lost, but two people can have two different responses to it, right? And that doesn't mean that person A or person B is wrong. It just means it's different. So while, other people may not agree with us, we don't have to resort to thinking that we are wrong or that we have to change how we feel. Now, why is this important for adults with immigrant parents is because generally speaking, and I can't speak for all families or all, adults with immigrant parents, of course, but typically what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've experienced is the communication styles isn't always the best in terms of like validating other people's perspectives, and sometimes it can come off a little bit harsh in terms of like, don't feel this way, right? Or it could be a language issue where they may not totally know how to support you, but they're trying. Two things also happen with people in general, not just adults with immigrant parents, but this also connects back to the language barrier, maybe cultural differences. But one is sometimes people try to jump in and solve a problem for other people. So in a way that comes off as invalidating. So if someone's like, well, now you get a new phone, that's so cool. Like, yeah, you're trying to help them see the positive outcome or a positive outcome, but we're not addressing the fact that they feel sad about the loss or the challenges of having to, get a new phone or spend the money or whatever it is. So a lot of times people want to save us, quote unquote, right? Rescue our feelings, and that can come off as invalidating too. So just because someone doesn't acknowledge it or doesn't agree with what we're saying doesn't mean that we're wrong. Number two, what people say and do is completely out of our hands. Just because we're hoping that someone's like, hey, I'm so sorry you lost your phone. I know it's going to be a lot of money and stress to kind of like figure out how to protect all your stuff and all of that, doesn't mean that we'll get it, right? Just because we wish that someone would validate some of our feelings or agree with us or, be on our side about something, we have no control over what other people do. So that is going to be a little bit hard to sit with again. The phone example may not be the best one, but just because someone else doesn't agree with us or have a different perspective also doesn't mean that we should invalidate our feelings and say, oh, I shouldn't feel this way, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do that, because then we're not validating how we feel. We're going to just talk negatively to ourselves, and then we're not going to be able to move along in the process. Next one, number 4. Number 4 is I am great just as I am. We are often the hardest on ourselves. You are probably the hardest on yourself than you would be to anyone else. So I think a lot of times adults with immigrant parents, they have a hard time just really acknowledging what they've done, because again, going back to even point number 1, there's so much that we could do, right? There's so much that we could help other people with or support people in and do for other people or even do for ourselves. But, it's not always reasonable to do all the things that we want to do within time constraints, energy constraints, resources, whatever it is, right? Responsibilities, other responsibilities we have is going to take up time. So this is particularly important for adults with immigrant parents because there could be a correlation of how much we do is equated to our self-worth, and that's not the case here. I don't want that for you. I don't want that for anyone who is taking care of others or for anyone ever, right? Because we are valuable just as we are. And yes, if we complete something, we do something, that's great, but it doesn't negate you from being worthy or valuable or great if you don't do something or achieve something. And I think for a long time, I've actually struggled with this because I prided myself on being able to help, my parents or help people. And when I didn't do it, I was like, oh no, I'm a bad person. I'm not there for people who need me. Like, I didn't do this for them. I didn't do that for them. So I'm a bad person, which is not true. So that's why I added in, I am great just as I am, because you are great just as you are. And it's often easier not to give ourselves credit for things that we put effort into or are thinking about doing, even if we don't achieve it. So you're great just as you are. Number 5, I am doing enough. This ties back with the last one, right? No matter how little or how much you are doing, it is enough, because it is. That's what you're capable of doing for the day, the week, the month, the year, and that is enough, right? If you want to strive for other goals, we can make plans for that and also recognize that progress is kind of subjective and hard to really measure sometimes, because there's a lot of emotional, mental growth that could be happening even if we don't achieve an outcome or aren't, completing something. So that's why reminding yourself that you are doing enough is really important, so that we don't, 1, talk negatively to ourselves, 2, discredit what we're doing, 3, just focusing on the fact that everything is helping you learn and you're growing in ways that isn't just outcome driven all the time. Okay, number 6, I am enough. This one's a great affirmation just to recap pretty much all the other stuff that we've talked about too. No matter what, your feelings are valid. You are doing enough. You're doing the best that you can. And you existing as you are is enough. And, we can all have goals. We all can have things we want to work towards. And that's great. But you are at the same time also good enough, and great as you are. And I think that sometimes that can be hard to hold, right? It's kind of like holding 2 different opposing emotions of like, I want to be better, but I'm also good as I am now, and not hold ourselves back and stay stagnant, but also not talk ourselves down so that we feel like we're not good enough and chasing after something to be happy. And I think for adults with immigrant parents especially, this is so true, because it's like sometimes our happiness might be dependent on how other people are doing. Like for a while I used to feel guilty when I would travel, and I felt like, oh, like this isn't fair. And at the same time, like, I could give them those opportunities. They could go get those opportunities, right? It doesn't take away from the fact that I could enjoy it and have like other emotions around it tied with my parents or whatnot. That's a little bit of a different example, but overall, we are enough. You are enough. You're doing the best that you can. And I really, really hope that these affirmations help you with recognizing what you've already put effort into, not just the outcomes, and also how you can give yourself a little bit more grace, more self-compassion, and really acknowledge who you are, even while you're still growing, and be grateful for the things that you've accomplished. Okay, so I'll have the affirmations in my show notes, and I hope that, again, you write them down, you read them to yourself, or you journal about them. Share this episode with a friend if you think it would help them. Thank you so much for being here. Hit subscribe if you hadn't already. We're going to talk a lot more about adults with immigrant parents and like the repay cycle and everything like that. So hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. I appreciate you being here. Just as a reminder, all information on this is intended to be informational and educational only. Although I am a licensed therapist, I am not your therapist. If you are looking for any medical or mental health services, please reach out to providers local to your area and seek out information that is specific for you. This information is not intended to replace any medical or mental health services that you may benefit from. And I hope that you enjoyed the information that was provided on the show today, and I'll see you on the next episode.